Tammy Lucky joins us all the way from Austin, Texas in our studio this morning. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Yes, I've heard so much about you because you are friends, of course, with Sandy Peterson, who is out in the office here at KXRE and a good friend of mine. And she has told me so many cool things about you, Tammy. I just am filled with admiration for your past endeavors and your goals. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Now, Tammy is set a goal to visit every national park in the U.S., hiking every national park, and hiking the highest peak in every state. And how did you come up with this goal and challenge?
Well, I started hiking about 5 years ago, and actually in June I finished up hiking 52 peaks in 52 weeks around the world, hiking different mountains. So when I got done, it was hiking season, and I thought I'd seen some state high points and I'd seen some parks, and I thought, well, I need to finish that list and see all the rest. So I've gone to 19 state high points and 31 national parks since.
On the world scene, what's the highest mountain you've climbed?
Kilimanjaro.
Really?
Yes.
Challenging?
Yes. Yes. The mountains will always have their challenge in some way. If you get a little overconfident, it'll remind you that you're on a mountain.
Is Everest on your bucket list or not? No, don't do it.
No, don't do it. Yes, if my mom's listening, I should probably say no, never.
Yeah.
Hard to say. If Denali in Alaska would be first for me, and if that one happened, then it'd be a little bit more tempting, but that's a tough mountain.
We really have some treasures in the U.S., don't we, in national parks?
We really do. Everyone is unique and different, and if people out there haven't been to a national park, they should get out, and they're all over and all kinds. If you can be in the desert, you can be in the mountains, and you can be in the beautiful lakes up here. You guys have quite a nice one in Voyageurs up in the north, and Sandy and I actually did a little canoeing in the Boundary Waters a few days ago. Wow, that was quite beautiful.
If you have a question or comment for Tammy, it is open line, so give us a call. 762-8167. Tammy Lucky from Austin, Texas.
So, what's your favorite so far?
That is so hard, and I get asked that quite often because it's like trying to pick your favorite child. Everyone is so unique. I did a mountain called Minnsota in Spain, which was quite beautiful. It had a 2,000-year-old monastery.
I've been there.
Have you been there? It's lovely. The mountain I did in China, Wushan, was really beautiful because it was snowing. And people put these red ribbons and gold locks all up along the trail for good luck and best wishes. So all that red on the snow and the Taoist temples, stunning.
Do you have to get permits in China?
You do.
Okay.
You do have to get a permit to visit China. It's pretty easy. The permit to Russia is much harder if you want to go to Russia. But they'll let you in.
What's the highest peak in Russia? Do you know?
It's Mount Elbrus, and it's also the highest peak for the continent of Europe. So it's one of the 7 summits. That's why I was in Russia, was to do Elbrus.
Are there a lot of people doing what you're doing? As far as climbing,
I don't think so.
Climbing a mountain, let's say you're in China, is there a large group trying to attempt?
Typically not. It'll depend on the mountain. So state high points, you'll see quite a number of people out there because there's high pointers, and they're usually really commonly known for the state. Something like the one in China, no, not so much. Maybe saw 20 people that day on the trail. Mount Fuji was crazy busy. It's probably the most hiked mountain in the world. So there were hundreds of Japanese people.
Were you surprised to see a McDonald's at the summit or not?
That's almost. There was a post office and a shrine and a
Really?
whole village up there on the top. Yeah. So
How about South America?
I have been to Peru twice
Okay.
and done the Inca Trail up to Machu Picchu. I really do hope to get down to Patagonia. That would be high on my list to go to next. And
So
see.
I'm going to add, and you can tell us whatever you want, but I'm going to ask what everyone that's out there is thinking. Well, did she win the lottery, or is she independently wealthy? How in the world do you have 52 weeks to go to 52 peaks?
Yes, that is by far the most commonly asked question is, what do I do? So I am the owner of a graphic design company in Los Angeles, and we work very hard in my company to have good work-life balance. Everyone works remote, so they can work from wherever their office is, and in fact, that is kind of my new motto going forward. This is my office. I take pictures every day from wherever I'm at. And it's just really about, so my work goes with me. And I do my work. I do have a full-time job, and will do it. I just do it in very beautiful places. And I find I actually work much better. And so, and so we've worked really hard to have a company that can do that. And it's really actually a theme and a thought that I want to spread forward, that we need to say no to the 80-hour work week. We need to get back to balance. And we need to let people work wherever they find their bliss and wherever they find my best ideas and my best work come on a trail, always. If I have a problem, hit the trail.
Americans work the longest hours.
They do. Japan might edge them out, but that's the only ones. And there's an American philosophy of how proud they are of those hours. And I was bought in before I started hiking. I was one of those 80-hour people. And I would love to see that change as a movement in our country. I think people will be healthier, happier,
more productive.
Yeah, it's a myth that goes back a ways, that to make more money you have to work more hours, and I strongly disagree. I think there's a right balance for that. There's a peak of productivity, and we've really found that in our company.
How many employees or how many people work for you?
35.
35.
How many pounds of equipment do you carry?
That will depend on the hike. The most I would carry is probably around 45 on a backpacking trip. And that's a different kind of thing to do. So
Do you
usually
hike by yourself?
I do hike by myself quite a lot. I enjoy it. I love hiking with other people, and I get to meet so many wonderful people out on the trails. Hikers are the nicest people. So we get to go out and hike and have that. But every once in a while, I really like to go alone. And then there's just some places no one wants to go or they can't go. So I'm not going to let it stop me.
Are you afraid ever? I mean, probably in the U.S. more than anywhere else as far as your personal safety.
I'm really not, and that's just a personal choice. I just go out there with confidence that statistically the odds of being attacked by a bear are pretty low. It doesn't happen. I could walk off the curb in my street and probably have more risk
by a
out in the woods.
garbage truck, yeah.
So I believe you have to go out there with confidence and just believe that the mountains will take care of you, and you hope. I mean, yes, it can happen, and the more you're out there, certainly, but there's so much beauty to go see. I'm not going to let it stop me.
Have you had any close calls either with animals or accidents out there?
I have been very fortunate. I've seen a bear a couple of times, far enough away to kind of move away. I actually had not. I had been very fortunate, not had anything happen until about a month ago. I was in a rock slide when I was doing the highest peak in Wyoming and broke a rib. So that's been the first time I've really had something happen.
Were you alone?
No, I was with some people.
Okay.
And I didn't even realize I broke it until quite later. But still had to backpack off the mountain and get back home.
And what's your next? Where are you headed from here?
Well, I just had a great weekend in your state of Minnesota. Saw the Boundary Waters, did your state high point, Eagle Mountain, and then went up to Voyageurs. So I am actually meeting my mother tomorrow. We're going to be in Michigan and go to Mackinac Island. And then we're going to head to South Dakota and do the parks there and see Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So your mom will go with you
She
to
will.
South Dakota. Okay, so where are you from originally?
I'm from Austin, Texas.
Oh, you are? Okay, and mom is from Austin,
my whole family's there.
in Texas.
And
Okay.
I took a detour. I was in Los Angeles for 20 years, but now I'm back in Austin. Good to be back home, although I'm not really home very often.
But your company's in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Is
based.
North Dakota on your radar for the highest peak? What are you
sorry.
laughing about?
I've been there. I was just there last
Okay.
week. Yeah, definitely. White Butte.
White Butte, yes.
Yes.
White Butte.
Yeah, it's out there on private land. It's quite hard to find.
So do you drive or fly, or how do you get around?
I have a great truck. I call it Big Blue. I love my truck, and I just, like the last 4 months, Big Blue and I have just been on the road, and then I'll fly home for a week and then fly back out and meet Blue at the airport, and we'll head out to the next place. Internationally, it's all flying.
You've done Glacier. You've done Glacier.
I've done Glacier, yes. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, I've heard that's, for camping, one of the most scenic.
It probably is.
Parks.
I didn't camp, but I went up and did Grinnell Glacier, and I did a trail out there called Huckleberry Trail. So I also like to do there's a list of the most dangerous hikes to do in the world. So Huckleberry was on that list
Really?
because it has the most grizzly bears per capita of any place in America. I didn't see a bear, though, thank goodness. So
What are
it's a
some of
little
the other
nervous.
ones on the most dangerous trails?
There is Half Dome in Yosemite, which is the first real mountain I ever did.
Sandy just did that.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she
I'm
just
so
didn't
proud
have
of
to.
her. Absolutely. There is the Maroon Bells in Colorado, Long's Peak in Colorado, which is one I've done.
Animals, because is it dangerous because of that, or just
Long's is
steep?
dangerous for falling. So is Maroon Bells probably.
Do you ever hike around the mountain where it's straight down?
Oh yeah, I love that. That's best. That's
love
like
that.
I do. That's my favorite part of the.
I'm
Where you
glad
can't
you're here
meet
because
anybody, you know.
I have
Right.
a friend who is a psychiatrist, and
Yeah.
I'm going to have her talk to you before you know. I'm kidding. I am so not into heights.
Oh.
It just creeps me out.
Well, I'll tell you what. I used to be afraid of heights. I really did. And when I started hiking, I did Half Dome, and they have cables at the dome to get to the top.
Right,
And
I
it's,
saw
for
that.
a person afraid of heights, it's quite scary. And I overcame it by doing that. And then I just would get a little more to the edge, and now I'm like, I can't wait to get to the edge. So I'll be the person who goes and sticks my feet over the edge and makes the best picture.
Around the national parks or world, have you gone across any of the rope type bridges?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You have,
Yeah.
over
Nepal had quite some big bridges like that, the rope thing. And I did a wonderful thing in Italy called the Via Ferrata. So it's just you're hanging on the side of a cliff by cables, and you're clipped in and everything. But you cross kind of like it's a bridge. It's just a metal cable, and you just hold on to the metal cables above you, and there's one little cable below you, and you cross over. Totally fun.
So when you, oh yeah.
Yep.
I have a very long bucket list, and skydiving is on there, but I'm waiting to do it in the Alps. But I bungee jumped last year in New Zealand for the first time, and that was quite scary. That one scared me.
When did your voice come back after you did that?
I know, probably a while. Yeah,
And did that off a bridge?
I did, and actually I did it off the birthplace of bungee jumping in Queenstown, New Zealand, is where bungee jumping originated. And you had to do, so I had to do it where it originated, of course. But to do it, you had to go head first. You had to go. They tied up your feet and you dove off.
Is there a jolt on the body when you reach the end of it, or is
I
it,
was so terrified, probably. But you go up and down quite a number of times. I didn't
Yeah.
quite realize how much you bounced up and down and spun around.
I think zip lining is better. I think it's probably easier on your body, and and you certainly see more. I know when we were in Spain last year, we saw a lot of zip lining over rivers and different things like that. And I took some really good pictures of guys like midway.
Oh, you got to
know,
do it
really
next
cool.
time.
Yeah, you should.
It's good.
I'm not going to do that because you have to get off the ground. I'm not going to do that. But my niece has zip lined probably in a dozen countries or more. And that's,
fun.
yeah.
I
She
did that in
loves
Costa Rica. It was nice. It was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we met at this great place in southern Utah called Mavara. It's a fitness resort that people go to, and you hike and you work out. And I met Sandy and her friend Becky 2 years ago there. And I was in the van going up. It was my first time to go to Zion National Park, which is my favorite national park now. And they were in the van, and we were talking, and I was going to go do Angel's Landing, which is on that most dangerous list, and very fun hike. And they didn't know if they were going to do it. I'm like, come along, come along. And so they did, and we went up and did Angel's Landing, and then they've hiked with me a number of times and keep coming out for more adventures. And that's the greatest thing, the people you meet and who end up coming out on trails with you.
Do you blog, or do you have put your photos online? How can people?
Oh, I do. So when I did 52 Peaks in 52 weeks, there's a website, 52peaks.com, has all the photos on them and blogs from the trips. And then really the best way I do Facebook is just Tammy Lucky. You can find me. I'm the only one out there. I put everything on there. And I'm getting ready to start a new website for thisismyoffice.com, where I'm going to put all the national parks and state high points so people can see the adventures and hopefully go see them themselves.
Have you done the Cornhusker State?
I did. Boy,
did.
that was 12 steps out of my truck to cross over there to the cornfield. Yeah, Panorama Point. Just did it about
Really?
10 days ago, yeah.
Is that in the western part of the state?
Very western.
Okay.
I think I was in Nebraska for all of maybe 20 minutes. I crossed over from Wyoming. Yeah.
Talking today with Tammy Lucky from Austin, Texas, now resides out in California.
Back in Austin now.
Back in Austin?
Yeah. Businesses in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And visiting every national park, hiking. How many pairs of shoes have you worn out?
Oh, too
And
many to count.
What would you recommend for comfort for hiking? What type of footwear?
Don't go cheap. Get good equipment always, and it will depend. Some if you're going to be out there, for a day, you want hiking boots. If you're going to be out in rough terrain, and it's very personal. Go to your REI or your best store and try on 20 pairs and see what fits you and measure your foot.
Did you see the movie Wild?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I did. We did too. I've seen it a couple times, in fact, and that was, of course, she had no idea what she was doing, and when she bought the boots, and so many women wear their shoes too small, and I sold shoes all the way through high school, so I know that I witnessed that, and it's hard to convince people that no, you are not a 6.5. And so she ended up cutting the toes out. Do you remember? I remember that. She cut the toes out of her hiking boots because they were just wrong. They were wrong. Mm-hmm. So there's places that you can go and people can help you, but you got to listen. Mm-hmm. Got to do what they advise you.
This is a very good hiking tip. You need to buy your hiking shoes at least a half size, if not a size bigger. Your feet will swell when you hike, and that hurting your feet is not good as a hiker. You're going to suffer.
And tent-wise, you go to spend a lot of money at Gander Mountain or someplace that...
a lot of my dollars go to REI. I have several tents, depending if I'm alone or with other people. Yeah.
Easy setup.
Different climates.
Different climates.
Tents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping bag.
Different sleeping bags for different climates.
Okay.
Yeah. I learned a long time ago it's funny, my business partner, she said, well, that's a great hobby for you because that's so cheap. You just get out of the car and walk. Like, you don't have to spend any money. Like, wow, I have to spend a lot of money on good hiking gear, and you never want to go cheap. You will suffer in some way if you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you have foot problems along the way, or had to take a break for a while?
Oh, gosh, at the very, very beginning, I had a couple of blisters, but no, I'm pretty good on the feet. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good. They're pretty tough now.
Well, you must be in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have several book ideas. And in fact, I did want to write a book about 52 peaks and 52 weeks and the experience and the personal journey of that, because it really was a midlife awakening kind of journey. So I'm working on it, yes. Mm-hmm. I have an outline, and I'm working away.
You need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe you can host hiking tours of the U.S. like Patty does travel tours.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy's a great hiker. She can show you. I know I'm trying to lead a movement for people to do their own 52 peaks. So I think you can learn a lot about somebody by what they pick.
Mm-hmm.
How long are you out on the hiking trail per state national park? A day or overnight?
A lot of national parks are a day because I'm just moving around so fast. But I'll go out and hike. Some I'll stay out 2 or 3 days. I'll camp, or I'll go out on multiple. I was in Glacier for like 5 days. Mm-hmm. It'll just depend how much time I have and what I'm doing.
Because you got to go up, or you got to hike the trail, and then you got to walk back the trail.
That's always the trick,
pickup.
right?
Yeah,
the going up is optional, but the coming down is mandatory. So
and
it's only halfway.
You did say Zion is your favorite.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say a favorite, but it really is.
Okay.
We'll take a break, and I've got my boots on. You got your boots ordered? We're ready. We can. I think I'll try the Turtle Mountains in North Dakota first. That would be good. We'll be back right after this.
It was too
Fogged in.
bad.
Oh, my
No, it was
God,
beautiful.
it was terrible.
And I went up at like 5 a.m. and I was by myself up by the monastery. It was so, wow.
And we're back. As you can tell, the show never ends. We just break away for a commercial. Tammy Lucky is here from Austin, Texas, and she's visiting every national park in the U.S., hiking it, and is hiking the highest peaks in every state. As we mentioned before the break, there's some books possibly coming out
She has to stay in one place long enough. Of course, maybe not. She could ride it anywhere.
Yeah,
That's right.
This could be another variety show to appear on the reality show to appear on the History Channel.
Did you journal and blog every day? You might not have much to do.
I didn't journal and blog every
Okay.
day, but I would blog a lot, and I'm working on my journaling. But I like that reality show idea. Maybe have someone follow me along.
Wouldn't that be
That
fun?
would be nice. Yes, I bet I get some requests now from people who like to travel. Might contact me.
Canada? Have you hiked in Canada?
I did. I went to Banff National Park,
okay.
which is quite beautiful. The lakes up there are great, and did a sulfur mountain up there. I'm going to head back. I have some good friends up that way, so I'm going to head back and check it out again.
And Alaska.
Yeah, I didn't do it as part of 52.
Okay.
Denali's a dream. That would be the kind of pinnacle mountain for me to do down the road. But I've been to Alaska, and they have they have the most national parks.
So why haven't you done Denali?
Because it is tough.
It
I am
is tough,
working up my
okay.
mountaineering skills. It takes 3 weeks, and it's Everest-like level. of-
Light vertical in some areas where you have to punch in the...
Yeah. Yeah,
hooks
it's you're on crampons and ice axe and snow the whole time, and it's just cold and a lot of avalanches, a lot of cold weather.
Can you do that by yourself? or
No,
you
I would
join-
never.
Yeah.
I'm technically, I started
Yeah.
this way too late in life to be out there on my own, climbing and mountaineering, but I would love it. I've kind of got a plan how to practice and how to get my skills better over the next 2 years, and maybe 2019 is kind of my goal.
Well, we have friends right now who are hiking to the base. Is it the base camp on Everest?
Yep,
It's
yes.
it's a fundraiser for a form of leukemia, I believe, and they're doing that. And so I think there are a lot of groups that do that kind of thing, but don't go.
They did. I did that last year as
Oh,
part
you
of
did the
52
base camp.
Peaks, and I
Okay.
did a peak called Kalapatar that was up by the base camp. In fact, so my friend TJ also did 52 Peaks with me, and she is leading a group to Everest Base Camp next year. So you can check her out at tjhiker.com, and if you ever want to go. Nepal's a beautiful country, beautiful people, nicest, most centered, peaceful people in the world I've ever met.
So getting to the base camp, is that a hike or is it a
hike.
mountain climb?
No, it's a hike.
It's a hike.
It's a hike,
Okay.
and the Sherpas are there, so you don't have to carry a big backpack, and you stay in lodges. I mean, it's still you're above, you're above 15,000 feet most of the time. For
Do you
7
land on
days.
that short runway that
I do,
goes
Lukla.
uphill?
Yes.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, most dangerous airport in the world, they say. That was fun. That was good times.
It's a short runway
It
on the
is.
side of a mountain, and it's
In the Himalaya
uphill.
mountain,
Yeah,
yes.
in the Himalaya
it was,
mountains.
but it was fun.
Did you go through the rituals with the people?
Some, as much as I could. The Kathmandu is Hindu, and they had lots of rituals and things in the city, so I could observe them and see. I went to a beautiful shrine in a city called Tembuche on the Everest Base Camp trek. It's one of the most famous, oldest Buddhist monasteries there, and I got to see the monks chanting, and that was a really moving moment, and one of my favorite moments from the trip.
So about your family, children, do you have
No children.
Okay.
No.
right.
But I just I have all my family there in Austin, and they'll come out and join me from time to time, and
That's
then I'll
awesome.
fly back, and yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
You just hike. You don't camp trailer-wise or RV or anything like that?
I haven't, because I just don't have one. My truck has a big back seat, so I sleep in there sometimes. I'll sleep in my
Okay.
tent sometimes. Nice friends like Sandy that I can stay with, hotels, all kinds of things.
You have plans for Sandy to take her on some major hike?
Well, we got her on Half Dome, so
Okay.
now it's
You did
just,
that.
I
So
think
what's higher than that? What can you go?
Oh yeah, there's many higher than that. So I think it sounded like her husband wanted to do Everest Base Camp. So I think they got to go do that, and then I'll be hiking.
Get out of here. Does he really?
Yeah. Don't you think they need to go?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
And then,
awesome, Tony.
And then we're going to go to Havasupai in the Grand Canyon next May. A bunch of us that hike together.
How many days of hiking does it take from the city you leave to get to the base
The
camp?
base camp in Nepal. It takes about 7. It's the whole trip that I took was 12 days.
Okay.
So it's about 7 days up, 5 days back, and you take some rest days in there. It's really because you're trying to acclimate to the high altitude, but it's a ways.
What did you people you've met along the way, particularly let's say at the base camp of Everest? Where are they from? All over the world?
All over the world. I meet the most fascinating people out there, and I think hikers, because they're out there, alone or out in the woods for so long, they're just so happy to talk to you when they see you.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, I met this here's an example of a good story of this. I was in Greece hiking Mount Olympus and ran into this older woman who had come out to Greece for a wedding and just decided she had always wanted to hike Mount Olympus and just went out there on her own and was hiking. And I met her in the lodge, and we've become good friends. And she goes on these crazy adventures by herself. And she lives in England, and she's originally from Chile. Mm-hmm. And she's had this amazing, fascinating life that's so admirable. And those are the stories where you meet. It's amazing the stories people have.
Some of the oldest people you've met that are hiking in these challenging places. In the set, you met anybody 70s. In their 70s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, definitely, yeah. Yeah. I met kids as young as 3 and 4, and people as in their 70s.
And
all ranges.
Those that are physically challenged, you've run into those too?
Well, you know what? I have another great story. I have a very good friend, Sherry Nork, and she was in an accident about 20 years ago and is partially paralyzed on her left side. And I met Sherry when she hiked the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu with me. She did the whole trail, and she had to modify some, she had to have people help, with guiding her because she can't really use her left arm and her left leg all the way. And I've never met a happier, more inspiring woman than Sherry. So it's just what your mind wants to do. It's your mind. If you just get out there and want to do it, you'll find a way.
How many steps at Machu Picchu? A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
I have no idea. A lot.
Was that worth the climb?
Yes, I've done it twice. That's how worth the climb it is. Absolutely. And there's a train there too. You don't have to do the Inca Trail, but it is something to see. It is amazing.
But no snakes or no?
Oh, I've seen the rattlesnakes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw a really big rattlesnake in Texas. So yeah, you see snakes. You don't see wildlife as much as people think. You see it. Like I said, a couple of bears, a bobcat once, a couple of snakes, lots of deer.
How about Devil's Tower? Is that on your list?
I'm not that good of a rock climber,
okay.
but I've been there. I
that's
saw
right,
it recently. Yeah, that I thought it was really kind of spiritual and magical.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
to be
so
in its
bizarre.
present. It is.
It's so
right?
weird.
You don't see anything else. I've never seen anything else quite like it.
No, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear
What
that
is it?
Boom, boom.
Oh yeah, in my own head.
Yeah.
I had mashed potatoes that night after hiking it.
Any interest in doing Antarctica and the highest peak there? Or?
Yeah, the highest peak there is Vinson Massif. If I did Denali, then the other 7 summits would start. But I would like to go to Antarctica just to see it. I've run into so many people who said that's the most beautiful trip they've ever taken, is they take the cruise down there. And I have another friend who did a half marathon in Antarctica. So I'm like, well, there could be several things I could go down there to do and see. So maybe see some penguins, maybe climb Vinson.
Can you do they allow you to explore there, or guided tours, or what?
I don't know. I would have to check more into that.
Because it's basically scientific research.
Exactly. I mean, and there are people who go to the South Pole. You can do that. That's hard. I don't know if I'd ever want to suffer that long. I think it's a couple of months to do.
Hawaii.
I've been to Hawaii.
Was that your first?
No,
Let's go to Hawaii.
Yeah, I should have been.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But I've been to Hawaii, done Haleakala. Believe it or not, when I was on 52 Peaks, 52 weeks, I had great weather the whole time. And I only had 2 places that I got snowed out, and it was Tennessee and Hawaii, if you can believe it. Yeah, because the Hawaii State high point is quite high. It's over 14,000 feet, Mauna Kea. Completely snowed out, blocked off, couldn't get on the road or anything.
How about the Lord of the Rings, New Zealand?
Been there, yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful country?
Wow, it is. I'm going back in January. That's how beautiful it is. I'm going to do some more hiking there. It really is. Everybody should go to New Zealand. Everybody should go out and try to go to as many of these places as they like. There's so many. There's so much to see. Everything's different.
I guess you can hop a freighter and travel over the seas cheap, because these tankers and that have like 8 cabins.
Do they?
They rent.
I get motion sick. I don't think that'd be very good for me. I think I got to take the fast way.
And Australia?
Been to Australia, yeah. I did something very special in Australia that had been on my bucket list forever. Was Uluru in the center. It's just a very special spiritual place for the natives of Australia, and that's a special place. Hard to get to, but if you can, get out there and see it.
You get a chance to mix with the natives there and everything, or
no? It was all that's out there is Uluru, so it was kind of just set up, just the people who were working there at the park.
Any close-up personal contacts with kangaroos?
I did not get to see a kangaroo, although I probably shouldn't say this, but I ate kangaroo at the buffet that they had, because you're just when you're there, right?
Does it taste like chicken?
It was really good. It did. Maybe it was a little more gamey, a little more.
Well, they're
the most-
overrun with kangaroo, so
Yeah.
I mean, I would think they'd.
What's the
Yeah.
most exotic food you've tasted that you either knew you were tasting or they told you
Boy,
afterwards?
that's a hard question.
Because I see the show on TV where the guy goes around and eats, you know.
Yeah, I haven't done anything that crazy, but I like to try anything wherever I am. So I might not have known I tried something crazy, but maybe kangaroo. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta go to.
Did
do
you
something
stay
crazy for
healthy
that.
when you were out of country?
I did. I was really happy with that because I was worried that you get colds and you're all different climates.
Or you drink
and
different water, things like that?
I drink bottled water only. I'm not adventurous enough to go try the crazy water.
How about supplements or vitamins, or because you obviously can't always eat healthy.
Now that is a challenge, is to eat it. Yeah, I do. I take vitamins. I try my best to eat healthy where I can.
What kind of supplements do you take? Is there anything you could tell people that would help them maintain that health?
I just really do a multivitamin kind of thing. Right now, while I'm on the road, I'm doing, my friend does Shakeology, so I'm trying that in the morning and doing that. And that's, just to get a really good start in the morning. Eat
so
your
what's
breakfast.
Shakeology? Is that something you have to prepare?
It's really good. I got this little travel blender, and my truck has an electrical plug in it. So I just plug it into the truck, and it's this little small blender, and you just put the shake in with some ice and a banana. And,
Okay, so it's like a powder.
yeah. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
powder. And so, but they have all kinds of stuff like that.
Sure.
Muscle milk, whatever you can. I mean, just, try the best you can. Get vegetables when you can get them. Those are the hardest things to find on the road.
Sandy's given me muscle milk. It just doesn't taste very good.
You got to put the other good stuff in it. Put some
Okay,
berries
all right.
in it. Mix some other stuff in.
suppose.
Yeah, it's what peanut butter shake. People like that a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's 1,000 recipes on the internet for
Yeah.
all you can put anything in there.
And you've mentioned it too, the people you meet. I mean, that's priceless.
That's honestly one of the best parts ever is the people, and it's amazing what good friends you become. I mean, I really like Sandy. I know her we went and hiked a mountain, and and good
And
friends to this day.
Foreign countries, the countries may not get along, but the people are the same.
People are universal
Yeah.
when you go and you meet people, and of course there's different cultural things, but you meet just really the most wonderful person. My porter from Nepal, we're still good friends, and he knows very little English, and I know no Nepalese, but we text on Facebook, and he sends me beautiful pictures of his country and what he's doing, and so those are the moments. Those are the things you take away, and you learn so much about yourself. Just the universality that you have with other people around the world. It's amazing.
And the people in other countries, many of them speak several languages, and
Yes,
yet
they're
we
better
have,
than we
yeah,
are on
we're
that.
English.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so arrogant.
I know.
So where did you and Sandy, now when you went north on Friday?
Yeah, Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday,
So where
Sunday.
did you stay up north?
Oh, we stayed with a nice friend of hers that
Oh,
she had a beautiful
okay.
cabin on one of your mini lakes,
Yeah.
and so it's the best when I can stay with somebody and get a nice
Oh,
meal
yeah.
and a nice
Good
warm
night's
bed
sleep
and a
and-
warm shower, and a washer and dryer is priceless.
Yes.
To run into
Yeah, I was
that.
going to say that it has to be a challenge too. A lot of cities don't have, like you used to be able to go to any town and find a laundromat or two or three, but
It's
yeah.
tough. Yeah, I've definitely had to do some washing in the sink before to have enough because you can't carry very much.
Right.
Equipment takes up everything.
Sure. Oof. Yeah.
Out east on the East Coast, what's Carolinas and have you been to the East Coast
I've
states?
done Mount Mitchell, the state high point in North Carolina. I've not
Okay.
been to South Carolina yet. The East Coast is really beautiful. The West Coast gets a lot of attention because it has the bigger mountains and the glaciers and the mountaineering. But I love hiking on the East Coast. I really do. I hiked a lot of the state high points out there last fall, and with the fall colors. So this is the perfect time. Get out in the backyard. Go out and hike somewhere up here in the east. Really pretty. I mean, they have so many beautiful mountain ranges. They're not as high, but I love it. I'm going to definitely do more hiking out there.
How many miles total have you?
Oh, good.
guesstimate?
Oh, I'm a math person. I kept a lot of statistics.
Okay.
I have hiked so I started about 5 years ago hiking. And it was really a way to get back into health. I was about 50 pounds heavier. I was working 80 hours a week. And this kind of became the thing I started doing and I fell in love. I never thought I wasn't an outdoorsy person at all. I mean, really, my idea of roughing it was no room service. So to get out here and start being out in 8 days without a shower is quite a people. They're like, what happened? And so I got into hiking for that. So since I started, I have actually kept statistics since I started training for Half Dome 5 years ago. I've hiked about 2,500 miles. So that is longer than the Appalachian Trail. And I've done about, I just looked at it last night, 670,000 feet of gain. So Everest is, about 29,000. So do the math there. A lot of times up and down Everest hiking that gain. I'm going to work for $1 million there. But when I was doing 52 peaks and 52 weeks for that year, I hiked the equivalent of if you hiked from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City. That was the amount of hiking.
Okay.
And that's how far again?
It was about 660 miles.
Okay.
It was long.
Now, somebody that wants to start out hiking, what trails would you recommend that don't have a lot of elevation?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many. Just look at, there's websites like summit.post and all trails that you can go to, and just look in your backyard. Every place has something, and it's unique, and you can get out there and find it. And go out for a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Build it up. Go to a national park. They just celebrated their 100th year of the National Park Service last year. We have such national treasures in this country. Go out, and every trail, they'll have a trail for the person who's never set foot on a trail before, and usually up to something that will be challenging for everyone. So it depends. You can find, if you like deserts, you can find that. If you like water, if you like mountains.
And we got
go.
state parks right out here. Lake Carlos State Park has nice hiking
And you know
trails.
what? State parks, I find, are almost more beautiful or as equally beautiful as national parks. Really good treasures, and the states really maintain them. Get out. Just
Now,
get out.
Douglas County, we have Inspiration Peak. Have you been up there yet?
I have not.
You have not?
I have not.
Have you trained
no.
for that?
Yeah.
No, but it's on the list now.
Okay.
I might just have to try to squeeze that in.
How long are you here?
I leave tomorrow from Minnesota, so I've got to go. I got to go to the Twin Cities today. I'm going to go to Paisley Park and Mall of America. I have to
Sure,
mix
of
that
course.
in.
Yeah.
I like to see the cities too. I love museums. I love history, and so I get to just mix it all in. It's a great life. I love it. So
It is.
fortunate and grateful every day.
Will this ever end, or do you have some
Well,
other...
that's a question my family asks quite a lot. Are you
Well,
ever going to come home?
Yes.
Gosh, my bucket list keeps growing, and then people give me good suggestions like Inspiration Point, and now so I just keep adding and adding. I don't know, who knows?
Other than hiking?
It's not very high, but it's high to us because it's ours.
So
That's awesome.
sailing by yourself?
Oh, now you got me on my weak point here. I'm a little afraid of the water. That's my one little phobia
Okay.
out there, but I'm working on it because I don't want to be limited. Another list I have is a couple of years ago, I picked up a National Geographic, and they listed their 50th greatest adventures. And in it, I'm really just a sucker for a list. So I'm trying to do the 50 great adventures. So I've done 14 of them. And the Boundary Waters was one of them.
Oh, perfect.
And they have water ones on there, like swimming with the sharks in South Africa and surfing. And I'm like, oh, gosh.
Safaris in Africa.
Yeah, and so I've done that one. But so I'm going to maybe save those water ones up. I'm going to practice.
I leave day after tomorrow for the Danube for a river cruise
Beautiful.
from Hungary through Slovakia and Austria and Germany. So
Have you ever been there before?
no,
Yeah, I've
no.
been to Germany. It's really beautiful. But that is, I've heard so many good things about that region. And, Croatia, Slovakia, all that's supposed to be stunningly beautiful. You're
excited.
going to have a great time.
I want
we
a
are.
cuckoo clock.
You want
Yeah,
a
you
cuckoo
got it.
clock?
They
cuckoo
have them.
clock.
I brought one for my grandma, so you can get them.
He's so
Bring it back.
bossy.
I know.
She got me salt and pepper shakers in Spain. I asked it for a bowl.
He wanted a bull and a cow salt and pepper shaker. And it was like
Yeah.
the day before we were leaving, and my granddaughter said, "Grandma, here they are," and they were in a little wooden corral, kind of. And
Wow.
yeah,
That's
they were
really
adorable,
specific, but
yeah, I
good
know.
luck finding them.
Yeah,
You'll
we had
find a
seen
cuckoo clock
we had seen
easier.
nothing like it, and then we found them in Barcelona. So yeah,
Your granddaughter spotted them, didn't she?
yeah, Gabby did.
Okay, there you go.
There they were.
Because I had
And
told
I got
them,
them at home.
They said, "Are you picking?" I said, "Well, the only person who asked me for anything was I have a friend who collects beautiful fans, has a collection from antique to present day fans, and so I got her one at the Palace in Madrid, and then I said the only other thing is that Dennis wants a a bull and a cow salt and pepper
Well,
shaker.
the Matador thing.
I'm sure he
Yeah.
made it up, and,
No,
and
I
then there
didn't.
they
No, I
were.
got it.
So
I got the theme there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were pretty cute. So
Any souvenirs you bought along the way?
Too many.
Oh.
Too many.
What
Well,
have you got?
I'm a sucker for those national park visitor centers. I've got pins and shirts and hats and
nice, yeah.
50,000 things. But I find, I found some really beautiful stuff. I found a beautiful like ceramic table on the Amalfi Coast and a beautiful table in Granada, Spain. So I do bring back actual functional, beautiful things
Granada.
for my home.
yeah,
In Granada, wonderful.
It
Boy,
is beautiful.
Wow.
And
Southern
for your
Spain.
mother, anything?
Always.
Okay.
Never forget mother.
Does she have a collection of certain things?
My mother has lots of collections. She does. But yeah, she has a whole room that's now based on her travels that she goes to and
Wonderful.
pictures and souvenirs. Yep.
one of my friends has collected Christmas tree ornaments from every country. That she has a travel tree.
That's a good
that's
one.
up all year. It's not a floor tree. It's just it has her ornaments from all the countries that
That's
she's
a
been
good
to.
one to do,
And then
yeah.
it's nice too because she said her children when they travel will bring her one. So
Very
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
really cute.
All right. Well, this is great to have you in town.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been beautiful. My first time in Minnesota, and what a
Oh, and then
beautiful
you came to the
state.
prettiest town too.
I
to
did.
Alexandria.
I did.
Alexandria.
Yeah.
I feel I fully represented your state. I've been all around.
Nice,
Seen,
yeah.
Seen all the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've been a lot of places, but this is one of the nicest. That's for sure. So,
You don't have that drawl. Did you lose that in your
the
travels?
Texas drawl.
I don't,
Did you ever have it?
I don't think I did, and I
Okay.
don't know why, because everyone in my family has it. So
Oh.
maybe if I said thanks, y'all, you'll start picking it up a little more.
Oh, I know. That's my dad was when I lived in Florida for a year when my girls' dad came back from Vietnam and we lived down there. My dad said, I'm such a parrot. And my dad said, you come home with a southern accent, don't come to my house. You you stand your ground, you be yourself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I was very conscious of it. Well, my best girlfriend at the naval base was from Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so she had just incredible. And she went home for Thanksgiving that year. And she had this beautiful little girl who I just loved. And they hadn't been in her grandmother's house for 20 minutes. And her grandma said to Kathy, what have you been doing with this child? She talks just like a Yankee. Because she was with me so much. She said things like potatoes,
Yeah.
instead
yeah.
of taters.
Well, I may not have the accent, but I'm definitely a proud Texan.
Yes, yeah. And you should be.
Yes.
Yep, that's for sure.
Well, for 21 years old, you've accomplished a lot.
Yes,
Thank
you
you,
have.
thank you.
You and
Yes,
our
I feel-
36-year-old mayor.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't it amazing what you can do? So just get out there.
Yeah.
I've seen them and heard them. Maybe gotten within 10 feet of one, but the animals just kind of leave you alone. They don't want to see you either.
And how about scary people? Any scary people?
Some bizarre people. When I did the Nepali coast in Hawaii with a friend of mine, and there were a few people hiking naked on that trail. And that's the most bizarre people I
good
ran
Lord.
into. That's you just don't expect to see that when you're out.
No.
How many cans of bug spray, or do you have some? How do you handle that?
I actually don't need bug spray very often because I'm usually in high elevation. You just don't get many bugs.
Sure.
Okay.
But so don't have to use that very often. Tons of sunscreen though.
If you could go to one place you've been and stay there forever.
Forever. Well,
Besides Austin
Texas
and your
is
mother.
home. Yes.
Yeah.
There's I stayed in southern Spain. There's a little town called Lanjaron that's just special, and that if I was going to go somewhere international, that would probably be where I'd go. But Colorado's beautiful. Tahoe's pretty. So many.
I love
So
Tahoe.
many pretty
Yeah,
places.
Tahoe's beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're all packed then? And
Yeah.
No, because I still had to work today and tomorrow. So I can't pack because I only
How
have,
long are you
that's
gonna
all the
be
clothes
there?
I have.
How long are you going to be there?
10,
12 days, 13
That's
days.
good.
Yeah. We'll be back on the 7th. We leave the 27th through the 7th.
Eat lots of
so-
German food. I love that German food.
Yeah.
We have a lot of that down in Texas.
Yeah, my husband likes it. I don't. But,
No.
I mean, I'm going to
Get some
eat it.
schnitzel.
but-
Pickled
yeah.
beets, that's German.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Sauerkraut, I love.
He is.
Yeah.
My husband's crazy about sauerkraut. So, yeah.
Do they
But
have
I'm looking
alternatives?
forward to
Alternative
the
foods
rest
over
of.
there, or-
Oh yes, I just got I saw a Facebook picture of some friends right now who are there, and they were eating Italian food in a, or they were eating Italian food in a Greek restaurant in some country in Austria or somewhere. It was hilarious.
Pizza,
And
I think, is the universal food. You
I
always
think
see
so.
pizza
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Roy couldn't wait for supper. He went across and ate McDonald's.
He did when we were in Barcelona.
Yeah.
We were getting ready to go down for this big dinner.
Yep.
And he was like, "There's a Burger King right across the road." And I said, "What?" Yeah, I hadn't even
I
seen
missed
it.
out. Spain has got some of the best food.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
We've been
Oh, my
talking
gosh.
with Tammy Lucky from Austin, Texas. Good luck
Yes,
and safe
thank
travels.
Yes, and
Thank you
look
so
her
much
up.
for having
Look
me
her up.
on.
You can say hi,
Google
Mom.
her.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, Google her. Tammy Lucky, Austin,
Yeah,
Texas.
52peaks.com.